वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। Namaste. Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam. KYG, as we all know this. Thank you all for joining in, for gracing this occasion. As always, we are so privileged to have you all. It gives us great delight that we are able to carry on this beautiful satsang where together we are able to open up dimensions into higher thinking. So welcome. In the last class, I apologize for the bhajan ending very abruptly. One of the mic transformers has blown up. We'll try and fix it. But nevertheless, we'll continue this. In the last class, we talked about 6 of these lokas, 3 hidden and 3 less hidden, if you will. That was Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Bhur, Bhuva, Suvaha. And we touched upon the 4th one, which was Talatala. So we'll take it from there. So let's go to the slide. This is where we had stopped last time. Talatala, the tala of all talas. The tala of all talas. Tala means surface or a point of rest, if you will, from which another dimension opens up, right? So Talatala. All of these are connected to granthis and chakras and all of that in a very beautiful manner. That's why these names have some significance in that order. Once again, before I proceed, some of these questions did come up and it's on my mind right now. So the sequence of Talatala, Rasatala, or is it Rasatala, Talatala? There are different scriptures say different things. I really can't comment on that. But I've always learned it this way, and I'm just sharing the sequence this way. At the end of the day, don't get caught up in too many of these little nitty-gritty nuances, because understand that this is all coming from being passed down from thousands of years, number one, right? That itself gives room for errors to creep in and things, discrepancies to creep in. That's number one. Number two is, it was not just a simple couple of last 1,000 years. The last 2,300 years, the country was under siege, literally, by the Mughals and all of that. And they destroyed so many libraries of works. So a lot of things got scattered helter-skelter. And in the last so many centuries, we are trying to assemble them together. So it's natural. We're getting bits and pieces of lots of these Puranas and scriptures back. So in that collection, you might find a lot of discrepancies that come in. But the essence is the same. Luckily, we have preserved the essence. And so history has not been very unkind to us. It has allowed us to keep the essence. I think that's a very power, that speaks for itself, the power of the Sanatana Dharma. Because it is eternal, it's never going to die. Nevertheless, I'm just putting it out there, so don't let these little bit of nuances grab your attention. It's good to be aware, but say, all right, I'll go with this for now, till a greater understanding dawns upon all of us. So we talked about Talatala being the heart chakra, the heart place, which is also Mahaha. Mahaha means great place. So this is the place where divine devotees stay with their Lord. And the deities, the Lord himself comes here in that name and form, where he is also in complete joy, because there's a sense of accomplishment, both for the God and the devotee. There is a sense of union here. There's a sense of unending joy, if you will. That's why Sarvartha Sadhani. See, this artha can be misinterpreted by wealth, because you and I, in this day and age, we are obsessed by wealth, right? Generally speaking. And when I say you and I, don't take it personally, but generally, right? We are obsessed by, okay, we have to make more money, save in the bank and this and that. So we think artha means wealth and wealth means more money. But no, the real accomplishment, you can have wealth, but if you're not able to use it, what's the point? So therefore, this is not just that one wealth, but all of the other wealth. The wealth of knowledge, the wealth, your talent, everything that you have, the health is a form of wealth. And so all of them find accomplishment at every level. And ultimately, the greatest accomplishment is what? The greatest wealth for us is what? Our beloved chosen name and form, our beloved Lord, our beloved God, our beloved deity. If it is Devi, then we want to sit at her feet and look at her beauty. If it is Swami, we want to sit at his feet. If it is Vishnu and Rama and Krishna, it's all the same. So that ultimate accomplishment in spirituality is when I become close and I sit with my chosen deity. This oneness and all comes later. This is that greatest joy that we all as devotees ask, when will I get that experience? Why will I experience God and all of that in our mind? So there is a divine place that we can. We have to earn it, of course. So who are our role models? Prahalada, right? Mirabai, or if you're in the Christian tradition, Saint Francis of Assisi. These are the ones who became one with that idea, right? Saint Francis of Assisi started bleeding from his palms because he became so one with that idea of crucifixion and Christ that he experienced the pain of Christ, Jesus, right? So that kind of level takes you there. And then your consciousness remains there. It reaches that. That's grace, of course. But then that happens there. So those are our role models. Hanuman is our role model. So they all become Chiranjeevis. They reside with their Lord forever in that place. So that is Talatala and Mahaha, the fourth place. Then let's go to the next one. The next one is Rasatala. Rasatala. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala. Rasa means taste. Taste means what? It means you get a chance to experience in this dimension. There is an experience here, a powerful experience that is very difficult to get. That's not so easily seen in Rasatala. That's why Rasatala is there. And the Shakti in this Rasatala is Sarva Sammohini. When you taste, you're caught in that wonderment. Sammohini is again a wonderment. It seems to be a small word explaining the Sarva Sammohini. You're caught in the complete wonderment of that experience. You get absorbed in that experience. It's so captivating. When you watch these 3-year-olds or 5-year-olds, you want to quieten them down and they are a little naughty, and so you perhaps put on a TV and you just see how the eyes grow big and they just get mesmerized there. You know, they're caught up in that. There's a captivation there. There's a wonderment there. They just completely absorb. They won't even hear you because they're completely absorbed there, right? That kind of, because they're beginning to experience that at some level. This is the rasa. You begin to taste it. What is taste? Taste is experience, right? When I can explain to you what an apple is, how tasty it is, how sweet it could be, or let's take a mango for example. I can tell you the Indian mangoes, or there's actually the best mangoes I've ever had is in Trinidad. They're called Julie mangoes. If any of you from Trinidad, you perhaps agree with me. A shout out for those of you who have a Julie mango tree in your yard, because those mangoes are out of this world, literally. They are so sweet. And now I'm telling you about this, right? You know it is there. You know there is a mango called Julie. But if you have not tasted it, you will not understand what I'm talking about. You will say, oh yeah, very good for you. Next time I go to Trinidad, I must ask my friend to get me one. Something like that you might think, but more than that, how is the Julie mango again? You will say, I don't know. Sundar said it's great. I don't know, right? But Rasatala is when you taste the mango yourself. Then you say, aha, this is what you're talking. Oh my God, Brother Sundar, this is fantastic. You are right, right? But at that moment, your experience takes you into the wonderment. You're captivated by the taste. In this case, it's only sensual, and that's okay, but it gives you a window to what the spiritual experience is. Like I always explain, senses are not bad. They are trailers to a movie. The movie is a spirit. The senses are just trailers. They give you a glimpse of the Brahmananda that awaits us. And therefore, though I use this analogy, apply this to a greater spiritual attainment. When you taste real spiritual experiences, in this case, in Rasatala, what is a spiritual experience? It will be revealed to us in the other loka. But before we go there, when it's revealed to us, there is a sense of wonderment. Wonderment. Sarva Sammohini. Mohini means Mohini is an energy. She captivates you with her beauty, with her grace. That's a general understanding for those of you who know Mohini. There are ladies with that name as well. Mohini has a it's a very powerful meaning to that name. She's not only just beautiful, but she can captivate you either with a smile or with her looks. That is some Mohini. You just get completely captivated by that energy. So this energy is such. Okay? Sarva Sammohini. Again, Sarva Sammohini. You see, in triangles now, it has all become suddenly blown out and become Sarva, 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 Sarva. So our mind is now taken off in a completely different dimension. The parallel world that is intermingled with this world is Janaha. Mahaha, Janaha. Janaha is the throat chakra. Janaha is the space element. Janaha is that space where enlightened beings reside. Enlightened beings reside. When we hear of Vishwamitra Rishi, for those of you who don't know, he was a Brahma Rishi. If you want to know where he is, where is Sage Narada? Where are these enlightened Brahma Rishis who have realized Brahman, these Rishis? Where are they now? They can choose to come down to the heart chakra and stay with their Lord if they wish to. They're free, right? Once you go higher, you can always come back lower. But then they choose to be there because they have tasted what it is to be that deity rather than sit next to the deity. What is it to be? What is it to be God realized? They have tasted it in Rasa. So Janaha. And so from here, they give you, in that realization, they bless us with mantras and sounds. So when we get rishis who have given us sounds, almost all the bijaksharas have, which is the rishi I get the sound from, I bow to him, we do that in Nyasa, correct? So those rishis are here in that enlightenment, in that state of oneness, they get this and they pass it on to us. Because why? Because this is a space area. This is where vibrations are felt, sound is felt. So this is the place for Brahma Rishis. Janaha is the place for, that is a dimension. Okay, what is the Shakti there? The Devi who is there helping them is Sarva Sampatti Purani. Sarva Sampatti. Again, Sampatti is, we talked about Shat Sampatti in lessons in Varanasi, if some of you had followed those series. Sampatti means wealth. Again, wealth does not necessarily mean only bank balance and properties and things like that. What is true wealth for us? The true wealth is the ultimate realization, right? That brings the abundance, the experience of abundance, prosperity, like everything is with me. I have the Lord with me. I am one with him. Everything is with me and around me. I don't have to go anywhere. And that amazing feeling is the sense of realization comes. It's not chanting, it's a sense of realization. It's a knowing. Because you have tasted. Rasatala goes with Janaha. And the Brahma Rishis who have tasted that, stay there tasting that bliss. They're in that bliss, enjoying that bliss. And in that bliss, they get these sound vibrations, they pass it to us. So when we chant certain mantras, come from those Brahma Rishis, we are actually tuning into that particular Rishi at that particular dimension. And directly incurring his blessing. You're tuning into that because in these dimensions are not outside of us. There are windows within us that we can tune in. Like you have a radio in your home, but it can tune into a station which is thousands of miles away, right? It's just a frequency. So when we chant those mantras, you're tuning into that Brahma Rishi and he opens greater windows to understanding, greater understanding. All of these mantras, including Devi Khadgamala, goes through these dimensions and earns the grace of not only Devi in all her Shaktis, but the Rishis who sit there and they bless. So all of this could be termed as just a matter of belief, but if you have even glimpsed into these or had experiences, you will know for sure that there are dimensions like these. Okay. So Vishwamitra, Gayatri, he gave us the Gayatri Mantra. He was the Brahma Rishi. They say he built his own world. This was that world he went into. This was the world. This is the world the rishis go to, ultimately in realization. Where do they stay? Where is Ramana Maharishi, who's as equivalent to any of those Brahma Rishis, right? He was in that state. He's here, enjoying that state of oneness. And he will guide his disciples. How? Because when we tune into those rishis, we draw that energy automatically. And that energy, Sarva Sampatti Purani, the energy that gives you that realization, that satisfaction, that experience, is that Devi. She flows because it's a Shakti that flows from that Rishi to us. What is that Shakti? Shakti is the Devi. Shaktis are just energies, right? This is the energy of Devi that flows to us from that dimension. Sarva Sampatti Purani. She gives you the satisfaction of having had all kinds of wealth in your consciousness. That is why these rishis never cared for wealth, never cared to please kings or queens, never wanted to earn anyone's favor. They were their own. They were in charge of their ashrams. They decided who will come, who will go. They chose. They never sought to please anyone. Why? Because they had tasted the Sarva Sampatti Purani. All kinds of wealth you give me, I have tasted something far greater than that. What can you give me? Baba would often playfully tell us, he'd show his hand. In this hand there is nothing. But from this nothing, I can create everything, because in that nothing lies everything. Everything that you ever want is with me. Because he is a master of all these dimensions. And therefore he knows. Once you touch and taste these dimensions, Sarva Sampatti, all kinds of Sampatti is Purani. Purani means fulfillment, realization of that. You'll truly realize you are the richest one. You never were poor, never meant to be diseased, never meant to be. Always, always, eternal life, healthy life, always there is Sarva Sampatti Purani. That grace comes. Okay? So this is the beauty of these two Shaktis that reside here, of the divine goddess. Sarva Sammohini, Sarva Sampatti Purani. And if that Sarva Sampatti is there, why wouldn't you get wonderment, right? You get captivated by that. Oh my God, everything that I ever wanted is here. I am all of that. That kind of realization comes with. So this is not a very simple place. It is a very, very, very powerful place. That is why the sounds that come out of our mouths should be so mindful. I'm trying my best. The tone, the sound, choose your words carefully. Because that sound vibrates in this consciousness, in this level here. And anything that we speak mindlessly, especially ill of others, which Baba would say, stop it, don't gossip about others, don't speak ill of others. When we do that, we are creating a negative vibrations in our own consciousness. We block the doors to Janaha, we block the door to Rasatala, and all the other lokas then from that on is blocked, and it stays blocked. The same thing happens when we watch television shows as well. Sound is the same thing. It all happens here. That not only affects here when you listen, it also affects here because the ears are in between this and this. And we'll come to this loka next, right? Because above this is the next loka. Between this and this, the ear is. So if you draw a triangle between this, the ear is connected to the Agnya Chakra, the ear is connected to the Vishuddha Chakra. So the hearing is even more powerful than speaking. You might say, I don't speak anything. I just watch my television and I'm happy. But what do you watch in the television? What do you watch? Is that same old gossip? And is there negativity there that gives you that feeling of negativity and all of that? Then again, you're blocking both these. Something to think about. So this is Rasatala and Janaha. Sarva Sammohini on one side, Sarva Sampatti Purani. What a beautiful name, Sarva Sampatti Purani. That when you chant it itself, it seems so peaceful. Sarva Sampatti Purani. Everything is granted in this dimension. Everything is realized in this dimension. Okay. Then comes the next one. And the next one is Mahatala. Mahatala. We only have 7 to remember. Luckily, they don't have 108 words, right? Thank God. So 7. Atala, Vitala, Sutala. Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala. And then Patala. So Mahatala. Mahatala. Maha. Tala, we know, is a surface or a point where you can rest. So that Tala is now Mahatala. Mahatala. Great place. So again, I repeat myself, I'm saying don't think of these worlds as something bad or evil. These are all divine places. And in that, the Shakti is Sarvastambini. Sarvastambini here. Now, Mahatala is coming to this place. Atala, the earth element, Mooladhara. Vitala was Swadhisthana, the water element. Sutala was the fire element, the Manipuraka. Talatala was the heart chakra, Vishuddhi. And then came Vishuddhi, Rasatala, and then Mahatala. So earth, water, fire, air in your chest, sound here, and then we go above the elements. Above the elements, it's called Mahatala. Mahatala. The only other name for Maha was Mahaha, which was the heart. In the world that we could see, this is Mahatala. And in that, the Devi's energy is Sarva Stambhini. Stambhini is stupor, if you will. You're caught in a state of stupor. Like you said, time stood still. When I saw that, when I heard that. We all experience that very briefly for a moment or two. We have had experiences where time stood still. Right? You're caught in a stupor, a state of stupor. Oh my God. Doesn't last very long. And this dimension is about that. Why? Why? Because this is tapaha. Tapaha. The dimension of austerity. The dimension of austerity. This is the abode of Shiva consciousness. I call it Kailasha is here. Because this is one step closer, just one step away from ultimate oneness. Tapaha, place of austerity. And here there is pure sound in its purest form. Sarva Mantra Mayi. Now it's not just sounds, it's only mantras. Only mantra is Om. And that Om has all the mantras in it. And therefore Sarva Mantra Mayi. Sarva Mantra Mayi. She is there. The Shakti that is with Shiva at this point here, where the third eye is there, where all of these elements, you rise above that. It is austerity, right? There's no other word to describe because there is no senses, there is no pleasure, there is nothing there. Before that, there was Sarva Sammohini and all of this enjoyment and Sarva Sampati Purani, the God realization happens, and then what? It goes into a state of complete absorption. That state of absorption is austerity, austere. You know, the way I would relate to Tapaha Loka, I share my thoughts about Sai Baba because that's how I learned. I lived with him, and that's how so for those of you who are not his devotees, please bear with me. I can't speak something else simply to appear scholarly. This is not that kind of a path. This path is a path of sadhana. I'm sharing with you what I'm experiencing. The joy of learning this is mutual. So the way I would understand this place, I could never understand what it is as I was growing up. I said, I want to experience the third eye. I want to see what it is that third eye is. What does that even mean? And so as I was watching Sai Baba, as Swami, as I would say, as I was watching Swami, I came to understand one thing, that when he would retire to his room and alone, he went back to his austere life. Down, he was sitting on a throne. He will have devotees touching his feet or giving him, flowers, presenting flowers at his feet, and he was praised, he was extolled, and he is there, right? But then he retires. When he retires and goes up in that little winding staircase in his room, a very tiny little staircase which is barely about 18 inches wide, very tricky to climb. And you go up the steps like this to the first floor, if you will, ground floor and the first floor. You go up there, he's alone. One chair, straight back, not a recliner, straight back chair. He goes into his bedroom, one bed, one table, one chair. It suddenly becomes extremely austere. There, nobody speaks to him unless he speaks. He's alone. In his aloneness, he is one with himself. If he decides to speak, he will. So every word at that moment from him was mantras coming out there. He will say, do this, do that, and all of that. So that place was, because I spent many months sitting there at his feet in that room, and I could feel the intensity of that presence. That is not the place for us to say, oh, Swami, and laugh and giggle. No, that was not that place. That was a place that you just had to completely be so very mindful of every thought, every movement of your body, everything that you touched, from sound to everything, had to be mindful. Inside the mandir itself, where he lived, but definitely in his presence. Because there's a fear that he'll open his third eye. In other words, I'm just saying, he'll open his eye and say, get out, you're not disciplined enough. That was because it was almost like he was getting disturbed. So that was his space. And I began to understand, this must be the third eye experience. This must be that austere loka. And then when I began to understand and appreciate tapas, austerity, tapa loka, and the concept of Shiva began to reveal itself to me slowly, as it is doing, and I hope it does for many more lifetimes. The beauty of that is Shiva is very austere. That space there is completely self-absorbed with no disturbance of any kind. And that Shakti there is Sarva Mantramayi. She exists there as sound, as vibration. In this place, there's only vibration. And so there is stupor. The mind doesn't work at that point. It just numb, if you will. Stambhana. That's why the word is stambhana in Sanskrit. Stambhana and numb can perhaps go together. Sarva stambhini. Everything else will come to a standstill. And all you will hear is Sarva Mantramayi. The mantra comes from Tapaloka. These two lokas are hand in hand, they're intermingled. Mahatala. Mahadev is in Mahatala. All of these have different aspects of Shiva residing in them, as per Puranas and so on. So that's why I said I can't go into that. But understand, the word Mahatala is not simply said. The word Maha is used with great reverence here. Mahatala, Tapa Loka. Sarva Stambhini, Sarva Mantramayi. They reside together in this most beautiful space, dimension rather. And the beauty is, all of this is within us. There is a Shiva deep and austerity within us, but the point is, all of these energies, including Sarva Mantramayi, Sarva Unmadini, Sarva Stambhini, Sarva, all of these, they are all dormant in us. Because we are not giving them a chance to express themselves. We are not even recognizing them. We are not even aware until now. When we open the Sri Chakra and we say, oh my gosh, these are the energies that govern the universe. And that universe is within me. My body is a replica, a microcosmic representation of this macrocosm that has emerged from my consciousness. And therefore, all of these Devis are within me. And so when we worship the Sri Chakra, as we will learn as we go along, this is the bhava, the feeling, the attitude towards this is awaken. All of these energies awaken. And the grace of the divine is such that these awakenings happen in the most beautiful, amazing orchestration of experiences that is given to us. So when we talk of chakra awakening, this experience, that experience, dreams, this, that, signs, synchronicity in external surrounding, all of these are Devis coming up and playing with us in our consciousness, showing us, yes, we are here, we are here. We don't have to logically analyze each one, just enjoy it as it presents. Right? That is the beauty of the Sri Chakra, which holds the secret of creation. There is no sadhana that I know of or I can think of which is devoid of understanding the Sri Chakra. There is no other yantra outside of the Sri Chakra because they all emerged from the Sri Chakra. Somebody asked me a question, and maybe because I said the statement that came to my mind, let me share that. They said, but isn't Narsimha Yantra, they have considered that is more powerful There are other mantras, Kubera mantra, that is considered more powerful than the Sri Chakra yantra. Which is most powerful? If Sri Chakra, everything emerged from Sri Chakra, is Sri Chakra the most powerful yantra? That was a question. How do we approach this? Now, let us stop talking about this idea of powerful, because honestly, I don't know what does one mean by something is powerful. Rudram chanting is very powerful, we say. This mantra is very powerful. What does that even mean when you say powerful? Is it going to shake your world? Is it going to bring you money? Is it going to bring you health? What do you mean by power? Have you experienced its power? If so, in what manner has it revealed itself to you? Its power, correct? So when we say powerful, it is so simply because we feel we are doing something special and we want to motivate ourselves. Oh, don't give me mantras which have no power. Give me something which is powerful. So we want a yantra that is powerful. So let us take that idea of what is powerful, what is not powerful, just out of our thinking. That's not how we approach it. Is Sri Chakra yantra more powerful than the others simply because all of the other yantras emerged from Sri Chakra? Because she's the mother, is she powerful? Think of your own mother. She was, when you were a baby, she was very powerful. She could just lift you, slap your buttocks and put you to sleep, or wake you up and feed you. You had no choice. She was a lot more powerful. And then as you grew up, you became more stronger, more intelligent, you had more studies, and you would say, I'm a lot more powerful, I'm going to help my mother. Does it mean she has become less powerful? No, she always, so the idea of power doesn't make sense. So let us not get caught in the idea of which is more powerful than the other. There's no such thing as one is more powerful than the other. That comparison itself brings division in our consciousness. The mother is the mother. She was able to carry a child at one point. At much later in time, the child carries her. Much later stage in life, the child carries the mother, right? At one point, the father carries the son. At much later, the son becomes the father of man. So it's a play of energies, and the mother becomes more happy and more complete and content when her children become all the more effective and powerful, if you will, and all of that, right? So there is no such thing as one yantra is more powerful than the other. Okay, these are our silly little petty ideas that we form. I used to entertain these ideas, but they all dissolve because they become obstacles in our own thinking, in our own meditations. So stop thinking. If a chakra speaks to you, if a yantra speaks to you in your heart and you feel connected, then that is your yantra. Go with it. Whether it is powerful, powerless, all that just put aside. So Mahatala and Tapaha, this is the secret that's held in the Sri Chakra. And then comes the last one, Patala. Patala. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala. What is Patala? Patala is a chasm that is bottomless. It is an opening, but it is bottomless. It is unending, unending. And that's why the energy that resides here is Adi Shesha. The greatest and the most powerful of serpents reside here in the Puranic form, in a poetic form, right? For us to understand this. That in the deepest level of our subconscious and unconscious lies an endless connection to the endless universe, because universe is endless, so it has to have an ending. You can't say this is the surface. So this Patala opens up. From the other side also you go into the infinite. That ever expansion. Brahman is what? Infinite. You can't experience infinite in a tala. It has to be patala, bottomless chasm. the energy there. So within us lies this dormant Kundalini, dormant snake, Adishesha, the most powerful of all snakes. Snake is just given, it's a poetic thing. I know people have mental blocks to imagine snakes. So in order to pacify that is why the divine gave darshan to the rishis as Vishnu lying on Adishesha himself. Who's lying on Adishesha? Mahavishnu. And Mahalakshmi, the god of abundance, she sits there as well. We have seen pictures of this, right? And so Mahavishnu lies on Adishesha. So we bow to Adishesha as well. We bow to Vishnu as well. The energy is the dormant king of all, the emperor of all snakes, Adishesha. Adishesha means this primordial being, primordial consciousness, which is lying dormant like a snake. In other words, coiled up within us, dormant within us, coiled up within us. And then we awaken that energy from the Patala. That's the beauty of that. So here she comes back to Sarva Jrimbini. She comes back as Sarva Jrimbini. Jrimbini is expansion. Jrimbini, expansion. And that energy just keeps expanding, awakening. That's why self-enlightenment or self-realization is not a static goal. If somebody says, I've realized myself, then take it with a pinch of salt, because realization doesn't stop. There is no lid to it. Because why? Because the self has never stopped expanding. So the journey of discovery will never stop. The journey of expansion will never stop. The journey of self-realization will never stop. So we are in the process of self-realization, you and I, and we will always be in the process of self-realization. And when the self realizes, the self becomes the supreme. Like the river merges into the ocean, the river is continuing in its journey into the ocean. As it nears the ocean, it becomes more powerful. Then there is merging into the ocean, and then it becomes the ocean. When will the river say, aha, now I am the ocean? The river never gets a chance to say I am the ocean, because it becomes the ocean. The ocean continues to say I am the ocean, I am the ocean. And the river merges into that I am the ocean. The river will never get to say I am the ocean. Sundarayar will never get to say I have realized God. I have attained the feet of Sai. Sai is Sai, Shiva, Rama. Sai will always say, I am God, I am God, I am not different from God, the higher self. And when Sundar merges, he is merging into that chant which is always there. The chant is always there. You just become one with the ocean. There is no river to come back and say, aha, that experience was fantastic. That is why the ultimate Patala and Sahasrara, there is no coming back. There is no coming back. This is this a point, and after this you can come back here, stay in your heart chakra, teach, help from any dimension. But once you leave that dimension and go, when we say Chiranjeevis, there are like Hanuman and other rishis are always there. They live in these other dimensions, not in the supreme dimension, because there it is, even Shiva merges into that. Everybody goes into that. So Sarva Jrimbini, she just keeps expanding. That is that power of that. That's why it's called Patala. Satya Loka. So the ultimate Loka is the dimension of truth. Absolute truth. How beautiful is that? The meaning, it's eternal oneness. There is oneness, and that oneness is eternal. There is only one. There is only the Bindu, right? That's it. You're getting a taste of that in these 14 triangles. Imagine she's going to go more and more, take you more and more into that. This is giving a taste of those. You get a taste of what it is. Each of these triangles. That's why I said we are dissecting a dynamic energy that's flowing. There are these wonderful gems that can give you a shortcut straight to the Bindu, if we understand, right? Anyway, so the Shakti here, look at the beauty of this Shakti. The word explains everything. Sarva Dvanda Kshayankari. I hope I have the meaning. Oh, thanks. Sarva Dvanda Kshayankari. Dvanda means duality. Sarva Dvanda means all dualities, all ideas of multiplicity, plurality, everything comes from two, right? So all idea of duality. Sarva Dvanda Kshayankari. Kshayankari means she destroys all that, all dualities of every kind. That energy destroys all dualities of every kind. And there is only oneness in that eternal expansion. Sarva Jrimbani, Sarva Dvanda Kshayankari. And thus, the 14 triangles become the 14 worlds, or 7 worlds. Now let us quickly review them. So we had Sarva Sankshobhini, the one who agitates, creates agitation in Atala, something you and I can understand. Everything, we like something today, we don't like it tomorrow. Everything keeps changing, right? Up and down. There are times of war, times of peace. Everything gets agitated in this world, Atala. Then this is all the dark side. The first 7 triangles in the Sri Chakra is the dark side. And then the 7 triangles are the light. But we studied them in pairs to create a deeper understanding. Okay, but when you chant, you will chant the dark ones, and you will chant, and then you will come to sequentially the 7 upper worlds. So then you have Sarva Vidravini, she liquefies everything, right? Everything that you thought is real suddenly becomes, she creates that sense of unreality to you. What you liked in the childhood, you don't like anymore. Your body that was in the childhood is not now. So is your body as materialistic and solid physical matter? No, but it's changing, right? So there is an element of liquefaction, if you will. Sarva Vidravini. Vitala. Then Sutala. Sarva Karshani. There's a sense of attraction here. Divine dimension. Then Sarva Hladini. Sarva Hladini is in that Talatala. That there is a sense of exhilaration here because the devotee is with the Lord. We understood that, right? Sarva Sammohini. This is the Rasatala. Here is your stupefaction, stupor. You're stumped by the energy there, by the experience that is gained in Rasatala. And then there is Sarva Stambini. I'm sorry, this is stupor. Talatala was heart. The Sarva Sammohini is you're tasting the experience. So you're caught up in that wonderment, the attraction, captivation of Rasatala. Then Mahatala, Sarva Stambini, you're stumped. There's numbness, there's stupor. And then Sarva Jrimbini, expansion. 7 triangles. And then comes the 7 brighter ones. Bhuhu, Sarva Vashankari. Sarva Vashankari is in that everything is so attractive, right? Vashankari is the ability to attract. You're hypnotized, if you will, by the senses. The senses keep attracting us. That is the Sarva Vashankari. Then you have Sarva Ranjani. Sarva Ranjani is bliss. We delight in imagination, visualization. There is a delight that we can get. So that is Sarva Ranjani. Sarvon Madhini, in the next plane, you get intoxicated in that divine plane. There is an intoxication in that divine plane. Then Sarva Artha Sadhini. Sarva Artha is again a sense of accomplishment ensues here because for a devotee, he reaches his Lord. He stays there. So that is Mahaha Loka, the heart chakra. Sarvartha Sadhani, Sarva Sampatti Purni is here when the Brahma Rishis bless us. All the Sampatti Purni, everything, the realization comes. Sarva Mantramayi, Sarva Mantramayi, Sarva Sampatti Purni, Sarva Mantramayi. Sarva Mantra, all mantras. She is the mother of all mantras. So the Om from Shiva is from where that sound comes. Or Hreem. There are different tantras that at maybe some point we could take up the words that come from her. That embraces all the other mantras. So Sarva Mantramay. And then comes Sarva Dvanda Kshayankari. All dualities she is able to eliminate. That energy that eliminates duality, it gives you the experience of oneness, is Devi herself. That's why I keep saying it is a grace. It's only grace that can make this happen. Because all we have to do is invoke these energies, understand them, appreciate them, and bow to them. Saying, I know you exist within me. Reveal yourself when the time is right. Help me. And then when you know they are all within you, you begin to treat your body as a temple. You want to keep the body ready for this awakening, this grandeur, right? And then you will experience that in so many beautiful, beautiful ways. And then you begin to realize, my gosh, I don't need television necessarily for entertainment. I have so much going on inside. That awareness is amazing. Now, my final thoughts on this. You might ask, or you might have thought while I was showing you the last 7, is if they were to be studied in pairs, then why didn't they come one triangle after the other? Why was all the dark side shown first, if we understand them as 14 worlds, and why all the 7 dark worlds come first with these names, and why all the other worlds come this side? If such a thought comes to you, then bring all these 7 worlds into one, bring all these other worlds into one, place them on top of each other, because that's how it exists in us. They don't exist as 14 separate watertight compartments. We are studying them separately, but they are all completely intermeshed, like the nerves, right? They are all completely intermeshed. Our body is an example of how the cosmos is revealing itself, right? So everything is works in perfect harmony, almost as one. Correct? All of the trillions of bacteria and the cells, they all perform as if there is one Sundar. But this one Sundar is actually, if you break him apart, you're going to see millions and trillions of organisms inside. But they all work so beautifully that it all appears as one. So these 7 lokas, again, we are studying them separately, as with all the petals and everything, but don't mistake in understanding that you have to somehow, like you go from one story, the first story and the second story and the third story in a 32-story building, and somehow you have to go to the 32nd floor. You have to pass from 1 to 31st floor in order to get to the 32nd floor. Yes, that is in a building. And we might think that is how this is. And that is why I said right in the very beginning that there is perhaps a misunderstanding that is becoming more and more popular, where we say, okay, there are 7 above chakras, 7 below chakras, and we see this as a linear 14 worlds, and somehow we have to go up and we should not look down. It doesn't work like that. The experience that we're revealing to you will not be that. All of this is enmeshed as if it is one world. So this is only for our understanding. We are dissecting it, understanding, then we'll put them all together and we'll say, I'm just going to worship. That's why all of this, eventually, with this understanding, when we do Om Shri Matre Namaha, Om Shri Matre Namaha, we say, my God, that Matra, that name, that mother, Shri Matre, the auspicious mother, contains all of these energies. And therefore, that prayer adds a lot more meaning. And so let us end just a couple of, maybe a minute or so of chanting Om Shri Matre Namaha, and we'll bring this satsang to an end. Thank you all for your patience. I hope this tough subject was understandable at least, and it'll open your mind to deeper thinking. May the Divine Mother Goddess guide us. May we be befitting to earn a divine grace. Om Shri Matre Namaha. 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 समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. Om. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. जय बोलो पवन सुत हनुमान की जय. सियावर रामचंद्र की जय. सतगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय. नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव. ओम शांति शांति शांति.